Have you ever stood by your window in the deep, quiet grey of December, looked out at the frozen world and felt a strange sort of hollowness in your chest? It is a feeling many of us know well, even if we rarely speak of it. For those of us who define ourselves by the dirt under our fingernails and the green shoots rising from the earth, winter can feel like a long, silent exile. We pace the floors of our warm houses. We flip through the glossy pages of seed catalogues that arrive in the mail, looking at pictures of red tomatoes and blue delphiniums, like they are old friends who have moved far away. We tell ourselves that the garden is dead. We tell ourselves that the season is over, and that we must simply wait, enduring the dark months, until the sun returns to wake the world up again. But what if I told you that we have been looking at winter all wrong? What if I told you that the silence outside is not an end, but a very necessary, very secret beginning? You see, we have been conditioned by modern gardening books and garden centres to believe that everything requires heat, electricity, and constant fussing to grow. We have been taught that seeds are fragile little things that need to be coddled indoors, placed on heated mats and bathed in artificial purple light. But nature, in her infinite wisdom, disagrees. If you were to walk into a wild meadow or an ancient forest right now, under that blanket of snow, you would not find death. You would find millions of seeds, acorns, wildflowers, grasses, sleeping comfortably in the freezing cold. They are not suffering, they are waiting. They are undergoing a process that scientists call stratification, but which I prefer to call the long sleep. They need the ice, they need the frost, they need the biting wind to crack their tough shells and signal that it is safe to wake up when the time is right. And today, my friends, I want to invite you to join me in mimicking that ancient rhythm. I want to show you how to stop fighting the winter and start using it. I want to teach you a method that turns the coldest, darkest days of the year into your most productive gardening season. And the best part? You don't need a greenhouse, you don't need expensive equipment, you don't need to pay a high electricity bill. All you need is a little bit of trust and something you were probably going to throw in the recycling bin anyway: a plastic milk jug. This is the story of winter sowing. It is a technique that feels almost like cheating because it is so simple, yet it produces plants that are stronger, healthier, and more resilient than anything you could ever grow on a kitchen windowsill. So, pour yourself a hot cup of tea, settle into your favourite chair, and let me walk you through how we are going to plant a garden in the snow. To understand why this works, we have to let go of the idea that we are the ones in control. As gardeners, we love control. We want to control the temperature, the water, the light. But winter sowing is an exercise in humility. It is about admitting that nature knows more about germinating a seed than we do. When we try to start seeds indoors in February or March, we are fighting a battle against the elements. The air in our homes is too dry, thanks to our heaters. The light coming through the window is too weak, filtered by glass and the low angle of the sun. So our seedlings grow tall and spindly, stretching desperately for light, developing weak stems that flop over. We have to water them constantly. We have to worry about damping off disease. And then, when spring finally comes, we have to spend weeks dragging them in and out of the house to harden them off, hoping the wind doesn't snap them in half. The milk jug changes all of that. By turning a translucent plastic jug into a miniature greenhouse and placing it outside in the dead of winter, we create a perfect micro-environment. The plastic protects the seeds from the harsh drying winds and hungry birds. It traps just enough solar energy to keep the soil slightly warmer than the ambient air, creating a humid, safe haven. But, and this is the crucial difference, it allows the seeds to experience the cold. It allows them to feel the freezing nights and the thawing days. This fluctuation is the heartbeat of the season. It tells the seed exactly when it is safe to emerge. A seed that wakes up in a milk jug in March knows it is in the real world. It grows a thick, sturdy stem. It grows deep, searching roots. It doesn't stretch because it has the full spectrum of the sun and the sky above it. It is born a warrior. So, how do we begin? It starts with the vessel. You can use almost any clear or translucent plastic container, a 2-litre soda bottle, a vinegar jug, a salad greens container, but the 1-gallon milk or water jug is the gold standard. It is the perfect size, tough enough to handle a blizzard, and easy to work with. The first step is a mental one. You have to look at that empty jug not as trash, but as a cradle for life. Take it to your sink and give it a good rinse. We don't need it sterile, but we don't want old milk souring the soil. And then comes the first act of liberation. Throw the cap away. Yes, you heard me right. Toss it in the bin. You will not need it. That open spout at the top of the jug is the most important piece of engineering in this whole system. It is your chimney. It is your ventilation. It allows excess heat to escape on those surprisingly sunny days in April so your seedlings don't cook. But more importantly, it is the open door for the elements. When it rains, the water will trickle in. When it snows, the flakes will drift down the neck of the jug, landing on the soil and slowly melting. This is self-watering gardening at its finest. By throwing away the cap, you are inviting nature to be your partner in this process. Next, we must attend to drainage. If the open top is the chimney, the bottom is the foundation, and a foundation must not be swampy. This is the mistake I see most beginners make. They poke 1 or 2 tiny holes with a needle and think it is enough. It is not enough. You have to remember that this jug is going to sit outside in freezing rain, in melting snow, in heavy spring downpours. If that water cannot escape freely, your jug will turn into a block of ice in January and a stagnant swamp in March. Your seeds will rot before they ever have a chance. So, be generous. Take a drill with a decent sized bit, or use an old screwdriver heated over the stove flame, or even a sharp knife if you are careful. Pierce the bottom of the jug at least 4 or 5 times, but don't stop there. I want you to add a few holes on the sides, right near the bottom edge, about ½ an inch up. These are your emergency exits. Sometimes the bottom of the jug sits flush against the mud or ice, sealing off the bottom holes. The side holes ensure that water always has a way out. We want moist soil, not wet soil. We want a damp sponge, not a swimming pool. Now we perform the surgery. We need to open the jug up so we can fill it with soil and seeds. Imagine the jug is a head. We are going to make a cut right around the neck or the waist, depending on the style of the jug. Take your scissors or a utility knife and slice horizontally around the jug. But, and this is a detail that saves so much frustration, do not cut it all the way off. Leave a section of plastic about 1 inch or 2 wide right under the handle. This acts as a hinge. Now you have a flip-top container. You can swing the top back to work on the inside and then flip it closed again. The handle keeps the top and bottom connected so the wind doesn't blow the lid into the neighbour's yard in the middle of a February storm. It's a simple design, but it works perfectly. With our greenhouse built, we need to talk about the bed we're making for these seeds. Please, I beg of you, do not go out to your frozen garden with a shovel and dig up heavy garden soil. Garden soil is heavy. It is full of clay and silt. When you put it in a container, it compacts. It turns into concrete. It also contains weed seeds and potentially pathogens that can overwhelm young seedlings in a closed environment. You need a bag of potting mix, just a standard quality potting mix. It should be light, fluffy, and smell like peat and forest floor. But here is the trick. You must moisten it before you put it in the jug. Most potting mixes contain peat moss or coconut coir, which are hydrophobic when dry, meaning they repel water. If you fill your jug with dry soil and then try to water it, the water will just run down the sides, leaving the centre bone dry. Your seeds will never wake up. So, dump your soil into a big bucket, add warm water. Get your hands in there and mix it up. Squeeze it, knead it. You want the texture of a wrung-out sponge. When you squeeze a handful, a drop or two of water should come out, but it shouldn't be dripping. It should hold its shape but crumble easily. That is the perfect environment. Now, fill the bottom half of your jug with this moist soil, and don't be stingy. Fill it almost to the brim of the cut. You want at least 3, preferably 4 inches of soil depth. Why? Because these seedlings are going to be living in this jug for months. They might be in there until May. They need room to send their roots down deep. A shallow layer of soil will dry out too fast and stunt their growth. Give them a deep, luxurious bed to sleep in. Now comes the moment of promise, the sowing. You might be asking, Sam, what can I plant in the snow? This is crucial. You cannot plant everything. If you put a tomato seed, a pepper seed, or a cucumber seed out in the snow, it will turn to mush. They are tropical plants. They do not understand winter. They will rot. We will save those for the warm days of spring. For winter sowing, we are looking for the tough guys. We are looking for the plants that have hardy or perennial in their description. We are looking for the plants that would naturally drop their seeds in the autumn. Think of the flowers that come back every year. Coneflowers, Echinacea, black-eyed Susans, Rudbeckia, lavender, columbine, delphinium, foxglove, poppies. These seeds actually require the cold. If you try to grow lavender indoors under lights, it often fails because the seed has a chemical inhibitor that only breaks down after a long cold spell. The milk jug gives it exactly what it craves. But it's not just flowers. You can grow your food this way too. Kale, spinach, arugula, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, onions, leeks. Even herbs like parsley, cilantro and oregano. These are cool season crops. They love the chill. Take your seeds and sprinkle them onto the surface of the soil. You can be a little heavy-handed here. Not every seed will germinate, and we want a nice, lush clump. If the seeds are tiny, like poppies or snapdragons, just press them gently into the surface. They need light to germinate. If they are larger, like spinach or lupin, cover them with a dusting of soil or vermiculite. And then, this is the step that you will thank me for later, label them. Do not trust your memory. You might think you will remember that the jug on the left is kale and the jug on the right is cabbage. But after 3 months of snow and rain, they will all look identical. And do not write on the outside of the jug with a Sharpie. The sun will bleach that ink invisible in 4 weeks. Write on a plastic tag or a piece of duct tape and stick it on the inside of the jug, or bury a tag in the soil. Now close the lid. Swing that hinge top back down. The cut line should meet up. Take a roll of duct tape, any colour will do, though I like a bright colour so I can see them in the snow, and tape the cut shut all the way around. You are sealing the chamber. You are locking in the moisture. And there you have it, a self-contained, solar-powered, snow-proof incubator. Now pick up your jugs. They will feel solid and heavy with the wet soil. Walk out into your backyard. The wind might be biting at your nose. The ground might be frozen hard. Find a spot that is open to the sky. This is very important. Do not put them under the eaves of the house where they will stay dry. Do not put them under a dense evergreen tree. They need to be exposed. They need the sun to warm the soil during the day, and they need the precipitation to fall into that open spout. I like to line mine up along the garden fence, or sometimes I just group them together in a raised bed that isn't being used. If you live in a very windy area, you might want to nestle them into the snow a bit, or put a brick against the end of the row so they don't blow over. And then comes the hardest part of the entire process. You walk away. You go back inside, you take off your boots, you warm your hands, and you leave them there. This goes against every instinct we have as nurture-focused gardeners. We worry. Are they cold? Are they freezing? Should I check on them? No, you must trust. The snow will come and bury them. You might look out the window in January and see nothing but white mounds where your jugs used to be. That is perfect. Snow is an excellent insulator. It keeps the temperature inside the jug stable. February will come with its ice storms and grey days. The jugs will sit there, silent. Inside, the moisture is cycling. It condenses on the roof of the jug and drips back down, watering the soil. The seeds are soaking it all up, swelling, preparing. Then comes March. The sun angle changes. The days get longer. The snow around the jugs begins to melt. The greenhouse effect inside the plastic starts to kick in. On a day that is 30 degrees outside, it might be 50 degrees inside that jug. And one day you will walk out to check on them. You will wipe the dirt and condensation off the side of the milk jug and peer inside. And there it will be, life. It starts as a tiny speck of green, maybe a loop of an onion seedling, or the tiny round leaves of spinach. While the rest of the garden is still brown and asleep, while the ground is still too muddy to work, you have life growing. And these seedlings are different. Look closely at them. They are not pale, they are deep, dark green. Their stems are thick and purple with vigour. They are short and stocky. They are not reaching desperately for the light, because they have all the light they need. They have felt the wind coming through the spout, so their cell walls are tough. They have felt the cold nights, so their metabolism is robust. You don't have to do the hardening off dance. You don't have to carry trays in and out of the garage for 2 weeks. These plants are already hardened. They were born in the wild. As spring progresses, you might need to check them for water if you have a dry spell. If the seedlings get too tall and start hitting the top of the jug, simply cut the tape and flip the top open during the day, closing it at night if a hard freeze is coming. When it is time to plant them into the ground, usually when the soil can be worked, you just take the whole chunk of soil out of the jug. You can gently break it apart into clumps. You don't even need to separate every single plant. Nature likes to grow in communities. Plant a clump of spinach, a clump of poppies. They will thrive. There is a profound philosophy in this method. It teaches us that waste is only waste if we lack imagination. We are taking a piece of single-use plastic that is choking our planet and turning it into a tool of creation. We are taking the dead season of winter and turning it into a cradle for spring. But most of all, winter sowing gives us hope. In the darkest days of the year, when the nights are long and the world feels cold and indifferent, you can know that out there, under the snow, you have planted a promise. You have set a trap for the spring sunshine. So don't let this November and December pass you by in a state of idle waiting. Don't let the gloom settle into your bones. Save your jugs, buy a bag of soil, find those old packets of seeds, and go out there. There is something incredibly satisfying about standing in a snowstorm, knowing that while your neighbours are complaining about the weather, you are gardening. You are working with the seasons, not against them. Winter is not the end, my friends. It is just the deep breath before the song begins. And with a milk jug and a handful of seeds, you can make sure that song is louder and more beautiful than ever before. Go give it a try. Trust the cold, trust the seed, and trust that nature knows the way.